Chair recognizes Mr. Connolly for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank Chief Modlin and Chief Chavez for being here. Thoughtful testimony. Really appreciate your approach. I just want to point out, though, that part of what we're dealing here in this hearing and in lots of other discussions about this subject is, the narrative being woven that is a false narrative. We need more capacity and personnel at the border, at ports. Well, we had that opportunity in the omnibus. And on this side of the aisle, we all supported it. But on the other side, that isn't the case. So you can talk a good game about we need to beef up, our capacity here and there. But you had an opportunity to vote for $7.2 billion for Border Patrol operations, $65 million for 300 new Border Patrol agents, $60 million for CBP personnel at the ports of entry we're talking about, and $230 million for between the ports technology that you referenced, Chief Modlin. So if we're going to be consistent and talk about the need to beef up the border, you got to vote for it. Otherwise, it's just hot air. Another part of the narrative is, we have all these people crossing the border, and they violate the law multiple times and never show up, of course, for court hearings. And that's really interesting because in the Alternatives to Detention program, I guess last year there were 16,482 undocumented individuals. And I don't know, Chief Modlin, do you know what percentage of those people showed up at their court hearing?
Thank you for the question, sir. What I can say is that I don't have an answer for that. So Border Patrol's role in interdiction ends once we serve somebody with an NTA. Once they leave our custody, then we have no means of tracking that. If you don't mind me just circling back to what you said in the beginning about funding the Border Patrol, as I would say to everyone is that, obviously the Border Patrol would like as much funding as we could get. We definitely need more personnel. We need more technology. However, we are a very small piece of this border security issue. And groups like ICE ERO, when they don't have bed space, that's when we see all the other issues.
And I'm going to get to that. I thank you for that intervention. By the way, the answer is 99.4%. So of those individuals, 99.4% showed up for their court hearing. And that's not an anomaly. The American Immigration Council looked at the record over the last 11 years, and they looked at over 2.5 million people who crossed the border in that time period. 83% showed up for the court hearings. So it's not, exactly the Wild West in terms of people complying with their court proceedings. And by the way, you were talking about new capacity, not just personnel. So the President announced putting new scanners at land points of entry on the southern border, 123 of them. And that's going to increase inspection of passenger vehicles from, I think, 2% to 40%, and for cargo vehicles from 17% to 70%. Chief Modlin, would that add to your capacity? Would that, do you think, be a material contribution to helping us secure the border better and in the fight against fentanyl?
Thank you, sir. So if I understood correctly, you're talking about some scanners that are going to be deployed to the ports of entry.
That's right.
And so, yes, so that is not where the Border Patrol is at. Obviously, the border is holistic, and so any security of the border is good security of the border. What I would say, though, is that, again, as the ports get strengthened, then it will push more to in between the ports of entry.
Right.
Because, again, the criminal organizations just want to move whatever commodity it is, whether it's people or narcotics.
We understand, but right now, most of that fentanyl is coming through legal ports of entry. So beefing that up, adding that capacity obviously makes some sense. But you're right, we're going to be concerned that an unintended effect isn't to push it down or in between. We've got to beef up capacity, and that's what we're trying to do with respect to that.
Will the gentleman yield to a question?
Well, I'm almost out of time. Chief Chavez, would you like to comment on what I've been discussing with Chief Modlin?
Yes, sir. The scanners going to the port of entry, that's really for the Director of Field Operations to provide some input on. I'm sure they're going to be very useful for them because it's technology, and just like for the Border Patrol, technology is critical between the ports of entry, and they've been very useful, especially automated technology.
But I think you would agree, and my time's almost up, to go from 17% of inspection of cargoes to 70% is quite a significant jump, and hopefully becomes a very useful tool for depressing the introduction of illegal fentanyl into the United States.
For our partners in blue, I'm sure my partners in blue would very much appreciate that increase
Thank
in
you.
efficiency.
Thank you both for being here. My time is up.